Hello and welcome to Brainwaves episode 156, bringing you the best in tabletop gaming news. As it's the start of the new year, we thought we'd reintroduce ourselves to audiences old and new. I'm Ian McAllister. I'm a tabletop games critic. I'm the main editor of Brainwaves as well, and I run the site giantbrain.co.uk, where you can find all our reviews and articles and things like that, as well as all our old archive of Brainwaves. And I'm also joined by Jamie Adams and Oliver Kinner. How are you doing, gents?
I'm Jamie Adams. Hello. I am a contributor to the Giant Brain and professional waffler.
Does that mean you make waffles?
Yes.
Don't ask me to make waffles.
Okay.
I'm Oliver Kinner. I'm a board game blogger where I publish written reviews and sort of thought pieces, also in audio format on the sort of podcast. And yeah, I'm a contributor to Brainwaves as well. Moving on, these are the headlines for the week of Monday, the 13th of January, 2025. Hasbro rolls the dice. It's the wrong trousers, Magnus. Vallejo paints a picture. All this and more on this episode of Brainwaves.
Hasbro and its division Wizards of the Coast, which is behind brands such as Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons, has announced a partnership with Games Global, a leading supplier of iGaming content. The term iGaming refers to internet-based gaming activities including online slots, poker and casino games. All iGaming titles allow you to gamble with real-world money. The collaboration will bring the world of Dungeons & Dragons into online gambling, seeing the iconic tabletop role-playing game entering a new arena. The first game to emerge from this partnership, Dungeons & Dragons Tales of Riches, is being developed by Neon Valley Studios. It is set to launch in the first quarter of 2025. In the game, players can expect an immersive, high-engagement slot experience. The release will be followed by further iGaming titles as part of this multi-game collaboration. The announcement comes as Dungeons & Dragons celebrated its 50th anniversary last year. Andy Booth, Chief Product Officer at Games Global, expressed his enthusiasm for the project by saying this.
The Hasbro brand is global and transcends the toy and game industry, so it goes without saying that Games Global is incredibly proud to announce this multi-content partnership. The first of many exciting releases, the Dungeons & Dragons slot will combine Hasbro's world-building legacy with Games Global's expertise, promising to deliver a game that engages, entertains, and transports players to new realms of fantasy.
Now, D&D isn't the first geek brand to break into online gambling. Marvel, Star Wars, and The Lord of the Rings have all been featured in gambling machines. While many of those collaborations ended years ago, this new endeavour promises to reintroduce pop culture fans to the world of iGaming with a fresh and captivating perspective. I'm not sure about that, personally.
On the news bit, now we can bring our opinions in.
Yeah, for those who are listening to this cast for the first time, generally we will read out the news article and then we'll sort of opine on certain aspects of that. In this case, last year, I think Chris Cox, who's the CEO of Hasbro, had previously said that Dungeons & Dragons and Hasbro in general was under-monetized. And I guess this is part of that drive, really, to monetize the brands that are under their umbrella a little bit more. I mean, loot boxes have been an incredibly horrible problem in gaming for a very, very long time. There was a really interesting case recently where Bellatrix, which is a game that I deeply love, which sort of wears the clothes of poker, effectively, managed to get itself a very high rating in the EU because it has poker kind of at its heart. There's no gambling in that game at all, in any way or form. Whereas something like FIFA, which is a game that has like a 3+ rating, I think, or something like that in the EU, has massively...
You can't call it FIFA anymore, it's EA Sports Club.
Yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to call it FIFA. Whereas FIFA, the global football sports gaming phenomenon, which is now called something else and no one cares, has massive loot boxes in it, and people have lost huge amounts of money on it, and is terrible, and is rated like a 3+.
It's rated a 3+, and there are stories of children spending like thousands of parents' money on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, I never understood why, Marvel, Star Wars, any of the brands were, linked to gambling. Slot machines with a sort of theme on that. It always seems very sort of loose.
It's about money.
Yeah,
so much money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, these games will be quite clear that they're gambling games. I mean, they will be casino slots and things like that. It will be clear, but also kind of terrible. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be associated with it. I wouldn't want my brand associated with it. No.
Look, I'll be honest. I really don't like this. This is nasty and vile. And gambling, kids, listen, if you're going to do it responsibly. Otherwise, don't do it.
Or just don't do it.
Or just don't do it, yeah.
Anyway, Jamie, let's go back to the most controversial subject that we've ever covered on Brainwaves.
Yes.
Again.
The most controversial subject. The most controversial game.
Yeah, most controversial game. That's fair.
Not the game itself, but the people who play it. Games and the people who play them. Yes, we're talking about chess. Who would have thought that when we started Brainwaves all those years ago, that chess would be consistently featuring in many surprising ways? We've had poisonings, accusations of sex toys being used as communication devices, the Year of Women in Chess sponsored by a breast enlargement company. And now, they've gone full trouser. Magnus Carlsen, the former world champion, was defending his blitz and speed chess titles in New York. He was approached by officials who asked him to change his genes. And now he offered to change them for the next day, but was fined on the spot and asked to change immediately. After this, Magnus pulled out of the tournament due to this incident, saying,
"Honestly, I'm too old at this point to care too much."
He's too old to care at 34. He had conveniently forgotten to change out of his genes after the lunch break and was fined £159. Now, Carlsen did return to the tournament after the chess governing body FIDE, or FIDE, announced some changes to its attire rules. They said they would relax their dress code for minor elegant deviations that would be judged on a case-by-case basis. Now, when Carlsen was asked what he would wear when he came back to the tournament, he simply responded, jeans. Now, it does seem the relaxation of the rules may have only been for this particular tournament, but we'll just have to see, maybe the rest of the year, how this plays out.
I mean, minor elegant deviations is definitely the name of a rock band, right? That's
Prog.
what it sounds like.
At the very least, prog.
Absolutely. I mean, this it just kind of blows my mind that this story got to the BBC of all things. Absolutely mad. It's just like, what does it matter what people are wearing when they're playing chess?
Because the respectability, and by wearing jeans, you are bringing the good name of chess and the little horse that I can never remember how it moves into disrepute.
Yeah, the good name of chess. If you'd like to look at the giantbrain.co.uk and look at all the chess-related brainwaves, you'll find that the good name of chess is not that great.
Just to reiterate, we have had poisonings. We have had accusations of sex toys being used as communication devices. The Year of Women in Chess being sponsored by a breast enlargement company, to name but a few.
Yeah, the poisoning was towards the end of last year when a Russian game came to an end because one of the opponents fell ill because the mercury had been poured on the chess pieces by an opponent.
It was allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly, that a I believe it was a Russian chess player, had poisoned I believe it was her Dagestani rival. Not that she was playing against, but just was playing at another table. However, allegedly. Going from checkmate to a rather nice checkerboard pattern.
Oh, thanks very much. That's a great link.
Not, but there's a whole year to get better.
Well, it's a good start anyway. So at the end of last year, we brought you the news that workers at miniature paint company Vallejo were conducting intermittent strikes as a support for better pay and conditions. It seems that the action has had an effect, as Vallejo issued a statement agreeing to some of the demands. They announced the following in the statement.
Thanks to the willingness of both parties to negotiate, we have reached a positive agreement that has ended the strike and returned our operations to normal. The main points of the agreement reflect our commitment to the satisfaction and well-being of our team. Wage improvements. All our employees will receive a substantial increase in their salaries, with special attention to those with lower incomes. Social benefits. We have introduced additional benefits such as school vouchers, childbirth support, and specific benefits for single-parent families. Workplace harassment protocol. We will strengthen our protocol to prevent and respond to workplace harassment, ensuring a safe and respectful work environment with a commitment to its responsible use. Occupational safety. We will continue to comply with all current regulations, thoroughly review the functioning of the Occupational Health Committee, and continue to prioritize the safety of our employees through exhaustive monitoring.
In the statement, Vallejo refutes some of the allegations leveled at the company during the strike action. This includes denying that they pay workers below minimum wage, claiming that their factories are in good condition, and stating that they do have a workplace harassment policy that they're working on improving. The claim of the factories being in good condition directly contradicts the information provided by the union representing the workers. Now, clearly, this is good news, but of course, Vallejo are going to deny some of these things because they don't want to admit guilt or whatever it may be, but at least something's happening. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we'll put a link to the statement in the show notes, but the statement's sort of half and half. It's like half like, here's all the things we're giving to the workers, but also half like, but we're not that bad, honest governor. And there's a bit of that to it in my read of it. Like they say they don't pay workers below the minimum wage, which is one of the accusations, that the facilities are in good order, despite the union that represent the workers saying they're absolutely not in good order. Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, I think. Hopefully the workers do actually get something out of this, because that'd be good. Vallejo is an incredibly popular miniatures paint company and has become even more so in the last few years. So yeah, it'd be good to see workers who like help them make their profits actually benefit from that sort of trend.
I would say it's only fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reasonable, you would think.
You would think.
Wouldn't you? Yeah.
But now they've got this foothold. It allows for more collective bargaining.
Indeed.
Keep an eye on the story. Obviously, we'll give you updates as we hear more. Speaking of updates...
For the fourth time, Neil Scallon of London has broken the Guinness World Record for the most amount of Monopoly memorabilia, totaling 4,379 sets, having previously won in 2016, 2017 and 2018. On why he started collecting Monopoly sets, Neil said,
"Firstly, it's because I grew up with it and it's part of my history. I started with a standard set, then I'd get them from different countries as I was traveling. On the sets, when you'd go abroad, would be places that you'd visited, so it was a nice double whammy. It was nice to have something which was a memento of your trip and all the places you'd been, in a collectible. The youngsters do love playing them, but for me, it's getting them and having them sealed."
Now, despite all this, Neil still has a great fun playing Monopoly. He says he has a childlike glee still when he plays. Now, 800 of his sets are currently on loan to a Belgian museum. So it's unknown. I assume they were counted in the official total. But congratulations to Neil. And I know there's a couple of rare Monopoly sets that he's looking for. So hopefully you find them, Neil.
I'm not sure congratulations are in order, but well done, if that's your thing.
Why not, Ian?
I don't know if I ever want that many Monopoly sets or to see that many Monopoly sets.
Well, you can see the video that's on TikTok, or you can look on the Guinness World Records website.
I mean, it is a fascinating game. It's got a fascinating history. It really does.
Yeah. And I think for its cultural juggernaut-ness, I think it does an amazing job.
Yeah, you can't deny that it's the best-selling board game ever, basically.
And winning Guinness World Record, at least congratulations for that. Whether you agree with the Monopoly or not, certainly I think there's achievement there. And as I say, he's clearly very proud. And loaning it to a Belgian museum, I think that says something as well about the importance of these games. The sets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well done. Definitely. Congratulations.
Now on to the news.
The Cardboard Edison Award has announced that submissions for 2025 are now open. The award highlights new and unpublished games that show promise and is an award we greatly admire. Anyone 18 years or older can enter their designs, as long as it is original work that is not publicly available before June 2025 and is not licensed to publisher during the period of the award. Board, card, and dice games are eligible, but not RPGs or video games. Each submission has to include a brief description of the game, a video overview, and rules document. You also need to provide your name and contact information. Please make sure you have completed the game and play tested it before sending it in. Saying that, prototypes can be sent in and they do not need to have final artwork or graphics, but should be clear and usable. All designs remain the intellectual property of the designers, as you would expect, and submissions must be received before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on the 31st of January 2025. And a submission fee of $25 per design is required. For Patreon supporters of Cardboard Edison, a coupon code for one free submission is available on request. If you want to submit your design, please follow the link in the show notes to the online submission form. Yeah, I mean, as we said at the top of this piece, we do like the Cardboard Edison Award. We had a little piece recently about some of the changes to their rules and all that, and obviously trying to constantly improve. But the premise is trying to highlight new and unpublished games that show promise, so up-and-coming designers. So yeah, if you're one of those budding designers who maybe hasn't dared talking to publishers yet, maybe this is one way to sort of, put your toe in and see what it's like. And you get some feedback as well. I think that's the part of this as well. So you do get feedback on your design.
I think that's the most important part of it, is that you will definitely get some feedback. Even if your game isn't awarded, isn't chosen for the awards, you'll get some feedback from people who kind of know what they're talking about. And Cardboard Edison itself is a pretty decent site if you're looking to get into game publishing. There's a lot of good resources on there. We'll share the main site as well as the award submissions information in the show notes, as Oliver said. And we're hoping to talk to some of the folks from Cardboard Edison for an interview as well, with regards to some of the issues they had last year that we've talked about in cast recently, and just sort of the nature of the awards and the site as well.
So yeah, good stuff. Now on to jobs, opportunities, and events, Ian.
Yeah, it's a new year and there'll be plenty of new jobs out there. We do recommend, there's a Facebook group called Tabletop Jobs that has loads of different listings across the world. So do go and check that out on a regular basis if you are looking to get into tabletop industry jobs. And if you've got a job you'd like advertised on Brainwaves, then do get in touch with us. Anything like that is completely free. We just want to know about them and tell other folk that you're looking for employees. Events-wise, we've got one Spanish convention that's coming up in March called Protos y Tipos. It's an event for designers, publishers, media, and other games professionals in Zaragoza, happening in March. Zaragoza is situated between Madrid and Barcelona. The event is aimed at allowing designers to test prototypes and for the Spanish game professionals to meet and chat. It's run by the Games Association of Spain, and this year will be held from the 7th to the 9th of March. You can find more details about the event and the Games Association of Spain on their website, which we'll provide a link to in the show notes. Thank you very much to Stephen Hammond for reaching out and sharing that event with us. And if you'd like to advertise your event on the cast, much like jobs, then please just let us know. We don't charge for any of this stuff. We just want to know about them and share that information with our audience. So yeah, just reach out and let us know about them. And we just like to take a little moment now to give our patrons a little shout. Thank you so much for supporting us over all of 2024. Your support is really, really appreciated. It helps us keep the site and cast running, especially to our executive producers, Kevin Bertram from Fort Circle Games, James Naylor from Naylor Games, and Shaun Newman from the Game-A-Lot team. You can join them on our Patreon for only $1 a month, and there's various other ways to support us on the site, including various sort of dice and that kind of things from Fanroll and sort of direct PayPal donations, that kind of thing as well. Do go and check that out on the site. It's on our front page where you can find a link. But every Brainwaves episode, we always have an outro of some description, and usually it's about Monopoly. But Monopoly's changing its spots, Jamie?
Yes and no. It's a new year. Lots of new games coming out, and we're also going to get a new Monopoly, sort of. For this year, we're getting a rules refresh of the board game that people love to hate, in an attempt by Plastic Daddy Hasbro to make the game more inviting to modern players, instead of being the butt of endless snide remarks. Now, we're talking, steady on here, okay? We're talking a plastic organizer. We're talking changed card sizes and shapes. We're talking an overhauled money system and, count it, 20% bigger playing pieces.
Wow.
Yeah,
20% is huge.
20%, yeah, exactly. Also, expansions. Legitimate Monopoly expansions. Monopoly free parking jackpot expansion is going to basically solidify that house rule where money gets put in. It's going to add a spinner as well for it. It's Monopoly Go to Jail is going to allow corruption cards, and you can do some more things when you're in jail. And Monopoly Buy Everything is going to put everything up for sale, including the bank itself.
Wow.
Now, Hasbro Senior Vice President of Board Games Brian Baker said,
"We don't necessarily need to sell more Monopolies. Most people already own Monopoly. What they're looking for is a reason to play it again."
And they're also having a box refresh. It was going to come in a square box as opposed to the standard rectangular box that Monopoly is probably most well known for shipping in. And this is apparently to fit better with the aesthetic of modern board games, and also easier fit in an IKEA Kallax shelf, which seems to be becoming something of a standard for board game size kind of storage. Apparently it's coming out in the middle of the year.
Excellent, can't wait.
A new Monopoly. Let me put it this way.
What's the overhauled money system?
I don't know, Ian.
I'm actually curious.
They probably now have like different banknotes, not just 10s and 20s and 50s. There might be 25s in there, and
I guess, yeah.
25s. I don't know. I can only assume that there's something like that. Yeah. But 20% bigger playing pieces.
Yeah, exactly. See, you're excited.
That's, I mean, to be honest, when you get to a certain age, having these tiny pieces to move around is quite fiddly. So I do get that.
Revised look of the game's currency.
I mean, if they're remaking the cards, I hope they're considering sleeving as well, in case you want to sleeve your copy of Monopoly.
Sorry, yeah. It's not the money system itself, my apologies. It is the look of the currency.
Okay. So we're going to get poker chips instead of paper money.
That would be interesting.
That'd be nice.
That would have me interested for sure. And I love the house rule being introduced as an expansion. Amazing.
Also, there's another thing. If you enjoy playing as the battleship, tough. It's getting...
Well, you can do a side game of battleships?
No. If you enjoy playing as the battleship piece, it's been junked in favor of a money bag.
Because
I know. The eight pieces that you can now play as are Scotty Dog, Cat, Money Bag, Top Hat, Thimble, Rubber Duck, Old Fashioned Car, and Penguin.
I mean, the Penguin is a standout. What?
Now, I can tell you exactly why. Because quite a few years ago, I think it was about 2016 or 2017, I believe Monopoly held like a
oh, it did. I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Because it was on a very early episode, one of the few episodes that I did with ex-Brainwaves host Sam Maggs, a very short-lived podcast that we did, and we voted on it. And it was things like you could have like a T-Rex, I was like, that's really cool.
I think we covered a later one of that on Brainwaves at some point as well. Yeah,
very possible.
So the iron is gone, but the thimble is still in, is it? Okay.
Yep. Thimble's still there. The old-fashioned car, because
well, that's a classic.
Yeah, Scotty Dog and Top Hat.
Never go.
Can't it though?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening, folks, and welcome back to Brainwaves for the new year. We hope you'll listen and tune in over the next year or so, where we're going to cover all the tabletop gaming news that we find is really, really important. If you like what you've listened to, then the best way to help us out is really just to share the cast and drop us a review and rating on your podcast host of choice. Podcast discoverability is not very good, so if you can tell your friends about us, that's really, really helpful. You can also follow Oliver at tabletopgamesblog.com. You can come and join us on our Discord. We'll put an invite link in the show notes. We discuss all sorts of gaming stuff, as well as news articles on that Discord. You can mostly find me on Blue Sky under giantbrain.co.uk, and Oliver's on there as well. Our Instagram, which I'm kind of stopping using, it is there, Giant Brain UK. Facebook is the Giant Brain, and our website is giantbrain.co.uk. And if you'd like to email us about any jobs or events that you'd like us to advertise, then it's giantbrainuk@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to talk to us about any news stories you think we should cover and you want anonymity, that anonymity will be guaranteed. We look forward to covering the tabletop news for you over the course of 2025. And welcome back. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you again in a couple weeks' time.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Bye.